This is the regular monthly board meeting of the Augsburg Village Board Party. It is Thursday, May 6th, 2021, 4:01 p.m. The meeting is called to order. Mr. Warren, any letters of communication to the board?
Yes. There's quite a few there, different articles, and in our board meeting. Anybody got any questions on any of it?
Okay, Tony, Nicole, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Move on to approval of the board minutes. And Maria, has Mr. King had an opportunity to review those?
Yes, he has.
Has he signed off on those?
Yes.
Is there a motion by someone to accept the minutes of the April 8th, 2021 board meeting? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? It is approved. I noticed when I was going over my agenda that the presentation was not included. So I asked for a motion from the body to allow a representative of the city of Augsburg to give the presentation. Is there such a motion? Motion's been made, seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. It has been added to the agenda. Whoever in the city would like to present, please do.
Only one that wants to speak.
Sure.
Come right up here. Say a podium.
I feel as though an agenda, a hidden agenda, has developed with the bridge report. I feel as though it's political. I feel as though it's to hinder the city in any way possible. And if I'm correct, if I'm before, the fact is that I see no movement of the bridge report working with Augsburg, with changes being made, with working with developers or businesses who want to come here in the city, seeking to buy property, hindering for no reason I can figure out our citizens enjoying the beach. I feel that not working on developing the property at the port of your unused property, of not cleaning that up and putting it on the market. I mean, when it would be so beneficial to the city for property taxes, to the school for taxes, county, and also for our school system to bring new children in to it. I don't understand why that wouldn't be an objective. And quite honestly, I'm very opposed to the dredging. If you're not going to clean up your mess from the last time, I don't think you should be doing another dredging until you are putting things in motion to secure money and clean that property up and get it back on the tax. It's more river frontage than Diamond and Shade Road together. You know, I mean, I consider it like Proctor Point. I mean, we know how beneficial Proctor Avenue is to our city, and it'll be just an extension of it on the west side. So I hope we can get over these problems and start working together and put politics behind us and start working with the whole council and not just some on the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. Yeah?
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I know there's a lot here, and I know that the comprehensive development plan that we put together and the council set is a lot to do with the already reason why it does, because there's already been plenty in Ogdensburg. Most of your holdings are in Ogdensburg. You know, we released that plan March 8th. It was accepted unanimously. Had two public hearings, so after public feedback.
John, can I just, could you just speak louder? The feeling, and it's very difficult to hear. I don't want to miss anything to say.
Yeah. So that was unanimously passed on March 24th. Since then, you know, it was referred to the planning board for public comment. We've had two public hearings. You know, I'm interested in your feedback on what we proposed. You know, the beach was specifically mentioned. It was nowhere. There's been conversations about it even before that. You know, I'm here because I support the beach. I think it's beneficial to the citizens of Ogdensburg. I think it was a beach. I don't think it's that complicated. You know, we're trying to create some recreational opportunities for families. We want to work with you on it. We're willing to take all the responsibility in our draft that we presented to you. It's in there. I don't think there should be any money exchange. We're not to charge people for the beach. I think our proposal was $3,000 for 4 months. I think that's reasonable. You know, it's for the benefit of the community, and we take all the responsibility in terms of delineating where your parking is. The other was concern about that. Ensuring you with the level of comfort that will be responsible and clean the beach up. We have a complete Department of Public Works for that. Safety, we have a police department. You know, liability is then presented to us that, you know, your broker wants $25 to $50 million in liability. You know, I looked into Lisbon Beach, they have $1 million, $3 million. Your policy is $1 million, $3 million to lease land or, you know, someone using a helicopter at the airport, or ship them into the port. I may be wrong, correct me if I am. So I think that's reasonable. You know, if it starts to get to be much more than that, you know, it's probably easier to bus people to a different beach, you know. I think we should be able to accomplish that. I hope we'll work with this. Thank you.
Councilor Reed?
Good afternoon, members of the board, and thank you for taking time to speak with us today. I want to talk specifically towards the operational piece of what we're doing, and I'd like to echo the mayor's comments and the deputy mayor's comments when I say it's very difficult for myself and Steve to operate when the politics enters the picture too deeply. I just want to tell you quickly my story since I got here in July. I never sensed any politics when I first met Steve and the chairman. Matter of fact, I was on the job less than 2 days dealing with Ogdensburg Drinking Water Authority topics, which at that time was a very serious issue with needing security. Without that security, there's no airport operation. So before I ever dealt with the first most serious Ogdensburg issue, of which there are plenty of, I dealt with Ogdensburg Drinking Water Authority issues, and we did that quickly. We signed a temporary agreement to continue that coverage. We figured out the interim plan, and now we've got the long-term plan. And I don't want to be remiss in saying that is a cost to the city of Ogdensburg. While the Drinking Water Authority is paying for some of those costs, there are long-term costs that are almost impossible to recoup in these things. We hire police officers now specifically to do this. This isn't a proposition that's being done through overtime with on-hand staff. I have 2 officers that are hired specifically now for this function. So those are things that we're doing. We did that quickly. I didn't have to wrestle with the city council to do that. I think everybody on this board is aware that there were plenty of people on that city council at the time who were not in favor of Ogdensburg continuing to support that. And we were able to change the minds of those folks and we joined hands because it's an obvious partnership. It is, after all, the Ogdensburg Airport, and we stepped up to provide that. I think our DPW is here on a number of occasions to provide water and food support. Again, certainly there's a cost associated with that, but it's a much less cost and much less hassle to you than if you had an outsource function. So I feel, from my perspective, from the time I've been here, when I've been asked, we step up. There's no hesitance. If Steve calls me for something, you have it. And I don't really want to see that change. We really can't afford for an organization the size of the port to not be functioning locked up as a city. But I do echo the sentiment of the mayor. It seems like in the last several months something has changed. I don't think the bridge was the emphasis of that change. The bridge, the beach is relatively new, but something has changed, and I hope that whatever that is will be pushed away from the daily operations. We won't be able to function. We won't function if the city council gets upset that we don't feel like we're being reciprocated and we stop security. That's not a threat. Those are just things that we're providing. We don't have to. Our contract calls for a 90-day kickoff clause. At any point, we could activate that. No one here would want to do that. I certainly don't want to do that. I went to that. I don't want to see us stopping working together as a DPW. I don't want to see us stopping working together if there's a crisis. But I also do have an expectation of a proposal, an initiative proposal, on something that isn't a new idea. Beach isn't a new idea. That we at least, again, join hands and agree to work together. There certainly are a lot of hurdles. There are a lot of actions that need to be taken to make this endeavor go on. But I don't think it should be something that we should be philosophically opposed to. In fact, I hope today the board will approve this concept, subject to staff bringing back the appropriate work and demonstrating that we crossed the T's and dotted the I's. Liability, insurance, security, safety, none of those things are new to anything that we do on a daily basis. They're really just part of our everyday event. So I hope the board today will vote to authorize your staff to work hand in hand with me, because time is near. We only have a couple months until we get our 3 or 4 weeks of summer, and I think we want to be able to put this together if we can, at least have a fighting chance to it. So I apologize if people felt like this wasn't handled properly, but I would submit to all of you, there's no easy way to do these things anymore. Had I come and talked to all of you first, somebody in this room would have talked to other members of council and said that we had this discussion. And at a city council meeting, I would have most likely been accused of running the entire city council by doing some backdoor effort. So the appropriate thing for us to do was do what we did at a city council meeting in public with all 7 councilors present, talk about the idea, the concept of opening the city beach, and we did that. It wasn't intended to slight you or not have you in the room. It was intended to ensure before I came and had a discussion that we had authorization from the board on that, and that's exactly how the whole process is down. I hope that you can all respect it. Everything we do now is we're doing it now. Everything we see, there's no discussion. There's no way to professionally have a discussion. If any of you were listening to that meeting, I got pummeled that night with 30 or 40 questions. Where's your answer to this? Where's your answer to that? Where's your answer to this? I just needed the approval to be able to have my staff to work and figure out all those things. So I just ask all of you to please consider we've had a long-standing partnership. Consider that we've worked together well for a long period of time. And despite political differences during election season, or perhaps political differences with parties that are sometimes stronger than others, please consider that this is an effort for the community. Opening this city beach allows an opportunity for a lot of people in Ogdensburg who may not ever have an opportunity to enter or to be on the St. Lawrence River to do just that. The city won't let you down in this endeavor. We will handle this very professionally. We will cross the T's, dot the I's, and make sure that our work and our process is done, and we provide a good service to the community, and we don't let our partners down, and just certainly you all the landowner. I wouldn't appreciate it, and I took it to heart when Steve told me in our last meeting that there's a lot of garbage that winds up on your shores that then probably enters the water in our boat launch. Now, I'm not so sure I have an enormous amount of ability to control that, but to the degree that I can, we're going to make sure that we're doing our part, and the receptacles are empty, garbage is going away, and that we're policing the users of those facilities. So I feel like I've been a good partner to you all since I got here. I certainly want to continue that relationship. I don't want to see it adversarial. I think you all have to respect that we do have to move on some of these other initiatives that won't be popular. Cleaning up the land down there won't be popular. It won't be pleasant. It requires money and study and effort to get it done. But if we are going to ultimately revive the city, which has to be all of our goals. If you're sitting here now thinking that you don't have a responsibility to helping revive the city, you're absolutely grossly mistaken. This port will not be anything without the city, and I don't know how well the city will do without the port. We rely on each other, no doubt about it. So we've got to get this city revived, and to do that, we've got to turn the corner on 50+% of the property, taxable, available property in the city being in non-tax status right now. We can't, it's just not functional, not enough to go around. So we need to join hands with you to do all that you can do. We need to stay together when businesses show up in town and they're looking to buy property, they're looking to make deals. They like a phone call when you get those, and you have my word that you'll get them from me when I get them. Again, I see us as partners in this endeavor, helping to make business thrive here. And I believe that if we stay on that front, if you allow the executive director and I to stay working together, allow the latitude and authority to work some of these initiatives, I think that we'll see that prosper. I don't want to stand here with rosy-colored glasses, thinking that everything will always be perfect. It won't. We certainly will have our differences, and I think there'll be a good time and a place for the debate of those. But I don't think it has to turn adversarial. So again, I asked today in closing for us, the beach is really, time is drawing near. Summer's coming. We don't have much summer. If we can pull it off this year, it'll be a skinny operation. We probably won't be able to allow the number of people that we'd like to, but we'll be able to get some people down there. We'll do it organized, we'll do it safely, we'll do it orderly, and we'll be good stewards of the process. Thank you.
Thank you. In one of the emails I received, there was a map included. John, do you have that?
Yeah.
I don't seem to have that.
I don't have it with me, it was with the proposal, I think.
I don't know if it just didn't come through on my attachment or what. You didn't come through.
If it was another PDF file, but it was a picture, a Google Map picture. Yeah, I don't have it in the copy. I can send it back to you.
Is there any way we can have that now?
It's essentially from the old access road, custom fence, over to your other fence. So those buildings will be in there.
It's easier to talk about it when we have it in front of us. At least I find it easier. While he's looking for that, then I believe it's your response to the CFO on the different items she asked. Has that been provided? Do you know? This is the,
I mean, there's a lot of items. I mean, I think I responded with affirmatively everything except the insurance. I just think, I mean, we've gone back to our insurance. It turns out, apparently, you all use the same group that we do. So I'd ask them, post this meeting to have a conversation to talk about that. Again, I'm not an insurance expert. The city is nowhere near insured for anything like that. I find it hard to believe that all the operations of the city, nothing rises to a level of higher risk than money in a baby. So I think perhaps wrong information may have been provided. I don't know. Our insurance agent at Gallagher certainly looked at it, but he couldn't imagine how it could have been anywhere near that high. So I think the only thing that I didn't answer affirmatively was that, and that it's like the opportunity for them to be able to communicate together, so that we're not crossing information on what we have to cover and what especially things that the same company should be there and get that accomplished. Nothing else on the list that your CFO sent me, I think was without a question. I think the only thing I guess I'd say no to is that I don't know, and again, it's something you all feel strongly about with cameras. I don't know what that necessarily would buy us in this case, but I think everything else that was listed there is something that is well within the bounds and the requirements that you expect to do safety programs, plans for how we're going to execute. Insurance risk, we're self-insured from the county,
Right.
so I can provide all that. Yeah, I think everything else comes with, it's pretty straightforward.
I was a bit surprised with the insurance company recommendation. on the 25 to 50. And again, I view that as a recommendation, not a absolute. So that's something we can certainly look at. And I don't know, Ms. Driscoll, have they gotten back to you the price for, what do they do it for, million, for thousand?
From 1,000 to 1 million. And as the insurance agent indicated to me, what they were giving us as a number was if we had nothing from the city behind. The more the city provides, the less we would be required to cover. But I believe he was looking at a worst case scenario that if the city did not have a safety plan, if the city did not have enough enough staff for mandated ratios, those types of things, that we would have to, the OBPA would have to step up and make sure that the insurance will cover those if the city did not provide those items. So the 25 to 50 would have been the maximum that would have been required.
And I think once they get together, I think it's a matter of laying down, the obvious questions that someone may not know. Yes, there's a career fire department.
Right.
Yes, there's a career police department. Things that are going to be different if you've got a rural beach somewhere without one.
Well, I didn't want, the city or the rest of the board to think that, 25 to 50 million is something we definitely had.
I didn't have to keep the upload, just something that I had kept.
And I don't
want to.
work with the law.
And I think, as the deputy mayor said earlier, we talked to Lisbon, kind of a similar situation. And again, all insurance is,
We know.
Again, once we plug the.
You don't have to say anymore.
Yeah,
We all know.
And I think that everybody wants an estimate without giving a lot of detail. These people have to ask about 900 questions to be able to get what we want. We want to quote with the 5 questions.
I think we've all had.
When you want to quote in 10 minutes, you get it from me.
We've all had it. And maybe, I can speak to this, and there's someone else in the room that can speak to this, because we both work there, not necessarily at the same time, but, I remember, it seems to me, of course, it's been a while, that there were quite a few lifeguards in a number of, I think they called them rec aides at the time, this is what I was. In your proposal, you don't mention rec aides, and we basically cleaned up as, the day went by, did some raking, and just, minor maintenance here and there. Is it such a position, and John, I know you're originally in on this, so
So I
it
think
doesn't matter who answers.
no, so you'll see, we've got a roving staff that does those functions all summer, so I think, they'll be by here, they're by the parks, they're by the other locations. Same process. The lifeguards will be fully dedicated to working the crowd and working the water issues. So, yeah, we'll definitely have to blend in, what we do with the other locations to make this work. And that's why I believe this year we're proposing I don't know what the population was here, like what the peak we would have been doing previous. I just know that with all the work that we have to do, we know this year that hiring, just in general, hiring this year is been difficult. So anticipating that is why I put the limit out there, to get us started. I feel like right now doing something and getting this going is better than doing nothing.
Okay.
We certainly won't have the ability, I don't believe, to handle 300, 400, 500 people on the beach at one point. I think it'll be a small crowd. Again, if it turns out we can do better than that, great. But I keep setting an expectation that we can achieve other than falling on our face right off the bat.
You might say something related to that. What is the plan for, I think 150 was the number, I forget if it was in a meeting or I think you've thrown that out there. I'd like to be next to 150 or more. Because how functionally as a practical matter is that number going to be controlled?
Well, I think it's gonna have to be,
Correct.
yeah, no, it's gonna have to be pretty, regimented by the lifeguard staff. And again, I think there'll be some trial and error here, but I suspect, we'll establish an avenue, perhaps some snow fence or things like that, there'll be an access point, there'll be a daily count coming in. And the lifeguards will have to maintain, control of that. And that's not unusual, even in larger beaches. Lifeguard posts throughout larger beaches, keep an eye on the crowds, who they've got, looking for accountability. So I see us handling this almost like a camp environment, to a degree in the first year. We count the number of people coming in, we have accountability for who's there. We've even talked about the possibility of tagging, we'll have a certain number of tags when people goes out, people tags so we know who's where. Then we have accountability who left, so at the end of the day, we don't have all 150 of our tags back, and then we're looking for somebody who left us. So I think, a real controlled, first year for us, especially as we, as we figure out how the crowds react to this and what the management of it will be like.
So we're looking at this picture as well now. So if I'm coming down the roadway here, I want to go to the beach, where do you anticipate I would park? And what side of this building when I go to the beach, left or the right?
So again, subject to, operational preferences for you, I think there's two ways. I think access down the right, down the path is there. We put up some kind of fence that channels people down there, or we stay to the far left, which keeps them well away from your facility at all. So we use the far end of the parking lot there. And again, people are directed straight down to the jogging path and then down to the beach. And that may be functionally the better way. That way we avoid the traffic. And then to me, we would cut off the parking lot, rope that off somehow so that you have dedicated parking for your staff and employees, especially during the week. And then we kind of keep everything lined up, if you will, parallel with the front of the building. So that gives you the parking spaces you need for your staff to get in and out. And then the area to the left would be where we let the cars build up. And then from there they get out, and we're really right across the lawn down to the walking trail. So there'll be a little walk to get there, but that's again, that's okay.
The blinds are all the way up, but Steve, isn't it correct that we have transport haulers that use our parking lot?
We're in the corner of that parking lot. Yeah, so we have we lose a certain amount of parking, but is that something that we've already leased out? So we just have to section that out.
They're out there now, as long as.
Right.
I thought they were.
So it would be kind of, yep, with that, even what would happen is sometimes they may be all gone. People just say, over on a weekend, there, but you never know, they may come back on a Saturday night or a Sunday night. That's just kind of something that really works out for them, but just make you aware of that. Yeah.
Could we maybe put pylons or something there?
We have those.
That would interfere with.
We got those places there too.
Okay. Okay.
We just need to wait and down to them all.
That's why I asked about how we would access, the beach, either left or right, and how it affects this parking lot out here.
It would seem, and I know one of the concerns we talked last time was, the security, of your facility, and the reason that people coming and going. And you certainly understand that people show up, they don't exactly know what's going on here. Kids want to explore someplace, you're looking for the bathroom. There's 100 reasons why people will end up hugging your door.
Mm-hmm.
So diverting that away from there, I think is really the best.
What I mean, I might miss something there. You mean that? What's your preference?
So I would think keep to the left.
As you're looking at that.
Yeah. So we all want to section that front of the building parking lot here and that.
And on weekends, we're not around or something, maybe.
Yeah, and I think even the same thing. To me, to get habits. Yeah, I mean, if for some reason we saw some cars, we needed some spaces, but I think again, we want to get some routine built up here and some habit. And again, whether you're here or not, I don't think we want people roaming around. I mean, it's not a good practice for the security of the building.
Right.
I mean, people do what they do. They're looking for a spot, they get out of the sun or something. We just don't want the habit of them being in and around the facility. So I think kind of making this area off limits. But if you can't abide by the rules, then you can't. So I think a level of discipline is certainly involved there, and not unlike any other state park beach or anything. There's, I mean, if you go to a state park today, I mean, somebody hands you a front and back card rule. You gotta be willing to abide by the rules that are set out.
Right, because, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
I'd be really surprised if it was 20, 30 people. I don't know.
I was talking to myself. That's what we can get out and around.
Got a question.
Yeah.
It looks to me like, in the apron, coming out of that far side of the parking area toward one of the buildings. And really, I'm not sure, is that apron, do we need to maintain access to the building or not on this side?
Right, yeah, that's the entrance to our main garage. So, yeah, we'd have to be awful careful during the summer with us. But, we don't use big trucks for that. It's mostly a pickup truck hauling the rescue boat to the bridge and its mowers and things like that. They have to be careful, but.
So,
Yeah,
I would think you could make a plan for parking, leave that access open.
Well, I think we have to.
Yeah, we will have to know the person.
Sure.
And then we did switch, we had to, that we have, the doors right here. Maybe with that in mind, we keep most of our activity out of that part. We keep that shut down as much as we can. Then let's pretend they left the door open. Well, somebody may come in looking for a bathroom. So just try to manage it so that we minimize any problems that we might have with equipment and stuff going on.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, in the city, scares the hell out of me, that something could happen to one of the kids coming up. And there's certainly others in this room that know I come from a very large family. I have 5 of my own, and I have 3 grandkids, and, you know, little ones, very precious to me. And, we want to ensure that nothing would happen to any one of the kids that come down here. And I know you understand that, I'm sure the mayor and the council do. So we want to make sure that whatever we come up with, safety is number one. Not just down on the water, but here in the parking lot and around the authority's building. And I think if, you know, you mentioned someone coming from the city and periodically looking at things. I would be more comfortable if you had a dedicated person down here that could go through the parking lot and the beach area just to ensure something bad doesn't happen. So that is, I understand, and I know lifeguards are concentrating on what's going on in front of them on the waterfront, but it's what's going on up on the hill and up here. It's a big concern to me. Safety again, definitely. So hopefully between now and July, we can work this out. Back in the city.
Yeah, I think, sir, because the councilor, Deputy Mayor Reese mentioned, I think our expectation is the initial cost will be very small. But I think if we start to get into larger numbers, then you know, we have to look at the greater level of supervision. You know, my intent is we get this up and running the police department to be frequent into the year, as well as the fire department. I think it's quite a bit of time here. Again, just good familiarization, who's here, how would you move people out? And then if we do get those crowds of people, if the average day is what we think it'll be, 20 or 30 or 40 people, will probably manage itself fairly well. But you're right. The minute you start getting parking lots tangled up and people thinking they're battling for the best spot on the hill or access on the stand, or those are the times when you start to see people do things that are out of bounds, and you've got to manage the crowd. again, hoping the community sees this as a benefit and we get people participating. And I think that's an important segment of this, like any other public enterprise. We gotta have people watch.
I've worked here late at night, people work and come back here, and at times I've seen the police do night patrol. Have you talked with them? Do they, I'm not here all the time at night, but do they, I know at times they've had complaints about things, but is that something, that they do periodically, so it really wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary for them to keep an eye on the property?
No, but I think if I heard what the chairman's talking about, he's talking about when people are here and having somebody on the ground, you know, directing traffic.
But I'm just worried about after hours.
Oh, yeah. No, we'll close it up. And when we close it up, that's why I say, I think the accountability is important. How many people do we get in? How many people do we get out? And then I think you're right. This will become a spot. You know, yeah, sure it will. And there's like other spots in Augsburg now where the police roll through. We have to, kids are looking for something to do in the summer. It's where I would go on a hot rainy night where there was no fence keeping me out there.
Wait a minute, you're not here 24 hours a day?
No.
Oh, yeah. I feel better. Anyone else have any questions?
Is the full name here? Okay, so this is just in addition
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, we did never close.
Tony? Any questions?
No, not at this time.
Nicole?
No questions. I just want to thank you all for being here. I feel like what we've accomplished face to face in these conversations has been more so than sometimes what happens behind the scenes. So thank you very much for being here. It's nice to be able to have these collaborative discussions.
Mayor, Mr. Reed, anything else?
No, I think 20 years ago, logos was, I mean, it's function to work a little bit. Whatever we need to do to make things happen in the city, the better for the community access to the city environment. That's possible. Without a agreement close to, you know, meetings, and that's really late.
I don't think that we come to an agreement, it would be that long. So we want to make sure that the city has enough time to do whatever they need to do. As Nicole said, it's good to have you here, with, again, a picture, so we can talk about, what it looks like. I don't think, at any particular point in time, this board ever says no. We have questions. I think it's part of our job to ask questions of anyone that comes to the authority. We appreciate the city reconsidering a piece that was here for years. That not only did I work at, I ran with water there. And enjoyed it. It was closer than going to Lisbon Beach, as I'm sure you know. So, you know, and if you go back, how long has it been now? Maybe 7 or 8 years, maybe longer. A certain individual who ran for office proposed that we have a that was me. Maybe you were council, maybe you did too. And I don't know if this is the best spot, but it's a good spot. Again, I know I have to. We just want to make sure that as a board that is responsible for what happens here at the authority, that we do our due diligence and make sure the assets we have here are protected. So others may not do that as our main priority. That's one of our goals that we have to have. So what we'll do is, we'll discuss this in executive session. I don't anticipate action today, but we will get back to the city early next week. Is that possible? We have any information we may not already have? You looking for more?
Or the last step, the insurance company, the insurance company,
Okay. But again, I think I've already said, I understand that their estimate is, and it's a recommendation. So when is your next meeting? Monday? We will have a, counter proposal to you Monday next. So your council can vote, however, and we'll go from there. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time and the conversation. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Mr. Lofton,
I'll be sure to comment.
thank you for coming.
Yield my time.
Who's here? Did you plan on staying for the whole meeting or?
Do you have any questions?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
I got yourself, I need to go, you know.
Thank you for coming.
And, I appreciate it. Yeah. Bye.
Okay, presentation and report. Finance committee. I think you shut all the way.
Yeah, not all the
Oh.
way, because it's a public meeting.
The financial statements for the end of March are draft statements. This is the time of year when the staff is working hard to prepare documents and material for the outside auditors. And the statements are generally in the condition with the numbers that make sense and that we expected for the month. There are some adjustments, and Patty has some notes on things that grew out of the year-end examination project and preparing things for auditors to review. And she's really the one who could explain what those issues are and highlight the important stuff.
So if you look at the statement of financial position for March 31st, the numbers that are probably most important to everyone here, under our current assets, accounts receivable are at 100,716. 92.7% of that is current or 1 days. So our tenants and other vendors are paying us, our customers are paying us quite on time. The number below that, grants receivable of 200,000, is actually 174,000 of that 200 is a duplicate number. So for the end of the year, we have to take out 174, which will bring our grant receivable down to 26,000. What happened in the past is assumed numbers were put in saying, we think we will get this much money. The amount was added to our receivables, and then when we actually did submit for reimbursement, the receivable was put back in a second time. So this is just added a second time. Taking it out will not affect monies that were due. It was just an error in entry. If you go down to the current liabilities, as you see, we've broken out our accounts payable into accounts payable regular, New York State retirement, and the Tiger Bridge repair. The New York State retirement, since the 290,000 at the end of March, we have paid $75,000 to bring that down. So we're just over 200,000 now. We're making progress on that. Since the accounts payable regular number was booked for March 31st. We have paid approximately $340,000 against our payable number, which has brought that down. A good deal of that has come from the fact that the PPP has paid our payroll and has, in a sense, freed up a little extra money for us to be able to pay our payroll. And our CARES Act reimbursing the airport expenses has also done the same thing. So we have been able to pay down our regular accounts payable. The Tiger Grant bridge repair, that 1.2 million was paid off on the 2nd of April. Another bill has been received and paid already. So at the end of April, that number will be 0 unless we receive another bill from. Well,
Sorry.
then again, I can't.
It
It is May, so April will be 0. The working relationship we have with Tompkins, who is giving us this line of credit to pay these bills, is working extremely well. And the only expense we have incurred is some interest between the date Tompkins pays out and the day Tompkins pays back. Any questions on our statement of financial position? If we go to the actual versus budget on the bridge fund or the port fund, the numbers have come in quite as we expected them to, above and below budget. We've discussed these as we've gone along. I would put it, if there are any specific questions that you would like me to delve into either on the bridge or on the port fund, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'm looking at my, I'm one of the oldest ones in here, because I can't read that. Is there any way to make that bigger for next
Oh,
time?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's how it can go. I didn't know it came out that small.
Well, I thought it
It's supposed to look like this.
No, when you send me the PDF, it's that small.
We can definitely make it bigger.
I'm trying to hide it.
Well, I think I'd find me at the end. There's bigger plan.
Right. However, starting with the financials in April, some people had made a comment after the budget came out that they could see line items easier in the budget that was approved. So we are going forward, going to use that actual budget form and then do our actuals by month and year to date.
Sounds wonderful.
And if there are a couple of line items that I know people are concerned about, if they are not spelled out on the new form, they will be added so that we can track some of these numbers a lot closer.
I think the chair of the committee has, good job. Any questions? Tony, any questions? Can you read yours, Tony?
No, that's good.
No, you can't read it. That's good. Nicole?
I'm sorry.
No, just making a joke. Nicole?
I have no questions and I can see mine just fine because I have my screen zoomed in on the computer.
All right, Tony, thank you. Nicole, good. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. Chris, anything else?
No, I think we're set.
All right.
Thanks for the report.
Tony, you ready for Child Care Initiative Committee?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So our last meeting was, on, like, the end of April. And we, just reviewed some things from the presentation from Bruce Stewart for the St. Lawrence, Child Care Council. And I think, the one thing that we need to delve further into, is analyze why the previous daycare center in Commerce Crest closed. We also need to take the next step for conducting a community needs survey. We kind of discussed that a little bit, but we want to hone in and actually work with the St. Lawrence Child Care Council, see if they have any like template that they can kind of share with us to see what the community kind of needs and wants in Ogdensburg. It was great to find out from Bruce Stewart what the gaps of service are. But I think going to like the larger employers or going to families that live in Ogdensburg and the surrounding areas and finding out what they need for childcare. That's kind of our next step. We also talked about how that survey really needs to have a question about transportation, because if you can't transport your child to daycare, then obviously it doesn't really matter if you have daycare center open if we can't get kids there. So we're kind of working on that, waiting for St. Lawrence Child Care Council to get some guidance on that, as well as input our own ideas for what we think we might want to ask the community. We do want to tour Child Care Center, which we have a tour scheduled with the Canton daycare facility later this month. It's going to be after hours, just because of COVID precautions. We want to make sure everybody's safe and don't want to expose, children and their families unnecessarily. So that is scheduled. I think that's kind of it for now. We're just kind of working on the early stages and gathering information at this point. And our next meeting is later this month on the 18th.
Tony, who do you anticipate from the Canton Daycare Center being there when we come to visit?
Yes, I am going to plan to be there.
Okay, it's Nancy Addison.
Okay.
I set that up.
And she is?
She's been there 13 years. She's the director of daycare. She also, she worked in 92 and 93 over at Jacksonville.
Tony, you hear that?
Yes.
So rather than have her, when we visit, she's prepared to give you some of her views on how she saw it. She saw it in the best of times, but she could see at the end, her period, I think she was there 2 or 3 years. And I won't comment for her, but just some of the things we talked about, she's able to answer some of the things of how she saw it and good and the things that could have been improved or whatever. But she does have some history there, so she'll be able to answer that. Tony, did you see my email that we have the executive director of the St. Lawrence County, Jefferson County ARC will be online for our May 18th meeting?
Yeah, I did, and I think that will be very helpful. And I also didn't know that the Canton Daycare director had that experience at Jacksonville, so I think that will be very beneficial. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and it seemed like a good opportunity with St. Lawrence County, Jefferson ARC. They run one themselves, and I think I put a link out in the email of what they run. So it looks like there's a possible bringing together of the same goal. So I did invite her on my own, but I figured I just thought that she could put an addition there. So be prepared, maybe just like we did with Bruce Stewart, there might be some questions there that we can ask her. And also, Tony, also there is a countywide grant out there for to do a detailed survey for childcare needs for the entire county, and that should be completed by the end of the year. So that's just what I've heard from Bruce Stewart filled me in on that. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that, so, we'll know more as we go on, but we kind of thought that that would be something that would be happening by the end of the year.
Oh, that's great news. And I think also the ARC, I do know that they do have their own transportation department, so maybe they can provide some insight on that as well. So I definitely think that next meeting should be a productive meeting.
Okay, good, that fits in with our transportation question. Yeah.
When's the tour again?
The 12th.
May 12th at 5:45 over at for Maplewood. Yeah, and, it's not, I don't think it's just for committee people, but, or if you wanted to keep it to that. But, yeah, it's only 3 miles from our house.
Well, we can only have 3 of the same.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Anything else, Tony?
No, I think that covers everything we're working on right now.
Nicole?
Well done, Tony.
There you go. Let's see, Mr. King?
He's not online.
No.
Yes.
Steve Marshall. Well, that's where I was turning next. So you know.
Okay, so the facilities committee met on April 22nd, and we had a really in-depth great conversation about the airport. They had requested that Stephanie provide the committee with weekly numbers of train passengers. We got a nice description of the difference between trains and planes, and Stephanie explained it for the purpose that we were looking for, really the trend of passengers. She has access to these passengers after going through CSA process, so that can happen in that same time. Advertising is underway, both in radio for the airport. That's been great. We shot out a few specific suggestions about mentioning specific destinations, whatnot. Stephanie is in the process of setting up a conference called the Location Association. That hasn't been set up yet, has it?
I don't know, they're hoping they're going back and forth to set up with their and the
Strategy and planning.
strategy planning portion of the.
Right. So at our meeting, really decided that sort of we really have to go back to region and sort of, deal with that and find out exactly what the scope of our partnership is currently. And our, sort of completion is really then suspended or put on hold, so we heard until the border opened. But before we're able to move forward with partnerships, there's some region and find out where we stand with the new direction while the COVID stays closed. So that hopefully will be happening soon. We talked a little bit about other local carriers. I got a great explanation about the difference between the low cost carriers and the regional space data. There's a lot of that nitty-gritty that was really helpful. So after we have the conference call with Sarah in the Norwegian, and we, hopefully have a direction after that conversation, Steve and Stephanie are going to set up a calendar or a time to like contacting other airlines and really just to get things moving along. So that will depend on what happens after that. Stephanie also provided an update on the enterprise and costume. There was a lot to that with the rental car shortage, and he's got on our agenda.
Question? Nicole? Tony,
No, thank you, Jen.
anyone else? Thank you, Jeff.
It sounds that the committee's really working. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it really, yes, I mean, we're really working on, getting things going, getting a timeline, really taking some action and moving.
Thank you, Dave, such a great job. You can do this.
Okay, so our first council meeting was on the 26th of April. There were 2 items on our agenda, the employment agreement with our executive director, Steve Lawrence, along with an adoption of the employee handbook. So we went over the employment agreement in detail. It was reviewed, with the committee and with Steve Lawrence, and we did make some specific changes, like single words were changed and was or, anyway, it was a shall to a could, and a few words were added into the agreement. Number of vacation days was amended from 24 to 25. That makes sense. It's 5 days in a week. So, details of the number of days are given by both parties, by both the executive director and the board, was also amended. So, the employee handbook, we decided to table. We had a lack of sufficient time to give it its proper due diligence, really, to review and discuss the document. It's a lengthy document. It has recently been updated and modified with the assistance of an HR specialist. It's very lengthy, incomprehensive. I think it's going to take a big chunk of time to go through it. We really need to do that. We need to look at each section in its entirety. So that will happen at our next meeting. Yeah.
With that done, we can get the facilities committee and maybe as well, all of our governance, whole book, 810.
Do you know when the last time was updated?
You've never had one, have we?
Don't know.
The handbook was, prior to this, both a handbook and a policy handbook, which included high winds on the bridge, which have nothing to do with employee or my, but technically has nothing to do with the bridge. So our first step was to separate out all the things that were really operational policies. Some of the handbook was updated in 2016. Some of it hasn't been touched since, I think it's 0506. So, and many of the sections that, to which Jennifer refers are things such as the update on the FMLA, military leave policy, the sexual harassment policy, those that have gone through, such changes since 0506.
Tony?
Yeah, I think that's a good summation of what we did. The employee handbook, like Jim said, is definitely very long and lengthy, so it takes some time to get through. And I do like, I'm pretty happy with the direction the city went on the contract. I think we just did some things that just made like common sense. So yeah, I think that summarized it very well.
Good. Paul? Any questions?
Nope, good job. I know that that's a monumental task to sort through a document like that and to figure out what needs to be updated. And so I that's a big task.
Good. Thank you. Anything else? No? We're in the finance committee, so we gave you kind of stuff before, right? We don't have to do that. Let's go into the bridge traffic report. Okay. And we need to put on one sheet now instead of two.
Another one.
Yeah.
You gotta go the other way. We put on, we've got 2019, 2020, and 2021, because if you compare the numbers in April that we have, we still need to look at a normal year. So when you see 21 and 2019, that'll just give you a rough idea of what normal looked like and where we are. So when you compare that, you can see it's improved overall. We were generally running in the 82 to 85 range. Truck traffic's been really good, and you'll see that, and that's what really accounts for that. But also, if you look at auto crossings on the very bottom, you'll see in April of last year, really 3,500 vehicles. Everybody, well, a number of people are, I would assume, are more essential, and have found ways that they're able to cross. So you can see on the bottom on the auto crossing, we're up 239%. And, but you're comparing it to a very poor number there. So, but when you get down to the revenue part, you'll see overall, compared to a normal year, we're probably down $122,000, $125,000 in revenue. And then our revenue is up $7,000 over last year, which is a COVID month. So we're just getting two different pictures there, but at least we can see where we're going COVID wise. And it's better, but not nowhere close to where we need. So, but truck traffic has been fabulous, really, because if you'll see there, even over a normal year, probably 2%, which you take that any day. So when you look at that, for little victories, we're not worried about our truck traffic right now. That is good, but that's a reflection of the demand that everyone's seeing. That you hear lack of truck drivers and things like that. So there is a sudden demand shift on that. So, any questions?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
I really like this structure. I think it's very, very easy to read, very helpful to have the data. And yeah, I think that the numbers are not where we want them to be, but it's hopeful. It's so easy to have that feeling of, oh my God, because then we can actually look at the numbers, like, okay, we're moving up. So yeah.
And in time, we know where we're at. So, it's generally reassuring, where we're at.
Good. Any other questions? Now let's move on to the airport activity and occupancy results. That is much better to read. Stephanie, thank you. That April, the screen passengers. And at the bottom, it gives you a total, the maximum seat, and the load factor. It's good. Good. I've been out there a couple of nights. When they come in around 7:30 to 8, and I count them as they come off, and it's good to see that it's in the morning. Oh, and to see more cars in the parking lot. Definitely. Hey, anything else, Stephanie?
No, as you said, traffic is moving up, it's going up, and I'm not seeing any real drop for the first few days in May.
Good. Good, and it was good to hear that, soon, we can be ready. We'll have that conversation with, Region, and that will allow us to go from that. Rather than, but, I'm looking forward to any other questions of Stephanie while we're on the airport? Nicole? No? All right?
No, thank you, Stephanie.
Okay. Board activity report?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you. You'll see on the front of the board activity report last Sunday, we received 17,071 tons of Compass Minerals salt, Compass Minerals road salt. We're in the process of relocating that to our stockpile. We do anticipate another, 2 ships, one coming the 13th, and that will bring in another 25,000 tons, which is gonna go toward, Compass Minerals has a contract with St. Louis County and Franklin County for roughly about 61,000 tons. I believe with the next 2 ships, they'll get fairly close to that commitment. So, to get that on the ground and get that put away and covered, this early is a great thing for us. Usually it's our full time, so we're able to use the loaders and keep busy with that. So we are moving a lot of salt around, but logistically, we're just trying to position ourselves so that when more salt comes in, we're not in the way, and that we can always be available for any cargo activity on that. So I do believe, it's not going to be the greatest month of all time, but in the last 10 years, May will be the biggest month for salt. We would have roughly 55,000 tons in May is really a good thing for us. And then the thing we're having too. And you'll see the other end of the good news too is we're all our flat storage in the buildings are pretty well taken. Building 8 is full. Building 2 is full of, not full, but it's occupied with the saw rock that we got from Compass Minerals. Building 6 and Building 5 all have canola pellets, which we received a lot of, and you can see in that in the inbound rail part of that. So with that, we get a pretty good storage, monthly storage fee. So some a month, that quantity was never anticipated in our budget. So these are the kind of things that will help soften things a little bit and help out in other parts of the ordinance. Anybody have any questions on any of those?
No, I don't remember maybe ever seeing the occupancy things that are.
Right, probably the last time was when Potter's was in taking a building up with that. I think that 8 or 9 years ago, but maybe some of the other buildings were empty.
Right. So that's very good. And as you said, revenue we didn't anticipate. That's probably the best kind of revenue.
Yeah, and with having that volume, if you keep it full and then get the throughput, where we get paid to move it into a little bit, that's ideal, so it's rural efficient for labor harvest.
Right. Fully increased activity at the port not only pays off the authority, but it keeps workers down there busy and helps out the other companies that use our storage facilities. Right?
Yep. And then on another note, today we were notified by the Department of Transportation regarding the federal award, which the way it works is, so 2019 we have given out international, it's international, that's something overseas, given out amount of tonnage, and we surpassed that by 4%. But so long as you surpass that, you're in line for a pay for the award. What will happen is we're not seeing much international cargo now. So should we get any, say you get a windmill project next year and other things, you knock it out of the park. We would rather not get the pace setter and be high and just say, well, we missed it by 1%, but we're at a high level of activity. So in some ways, we know what that is, and we're very thankful that we're recognized for that. And that was done by staff here, that was done by all the workers that we have down at the port, and then the sport and the board. You're familiar with everything we do there, so and I appreciate that. But it's just nice to get some recognition and see the results and good about that.
Yeah. I'm only going to speak for myself. We didn't do a lot. I didn't do a lot to get that cargo, but those long-term that worked down there, and you and Adam certainly deserve a lot of credit. How well before they done last year. the year before, and every year before that. And we'll probably occur this event.
Well, it did mention something to the staff and our people.
Good to see activity as before. Right?
I said congratulations, really nice recognition.
We'll put them next to the other 6 that we haven't had about.
We need to get somewhere where people can speak out at the news. I see, then we're gonna work on that.
Okay. So the trophy case.
Any questions, Tony, the floor? No? Okay, the building occupancy report and the industrial commercial prospects report. Patty?
I don't have too much on the prospects report. We've had a couple of inquiries about the industrial park. The industrial park thankfully is fairly full. And unfortunately, the spaces that we have are not conducive to what people are looking for at this point in time. The occupancy report, you'll notice we have day automation lease expires May 31st. New York State Veterans expires May 31st, as does Knudsen Systems. I have reached out to Day Automation and Knudsen. I have not yet heard back from them, but Veterans Affairs has formally informed the OBPA space at the end of May. They currently pay $469 per month for their space, so that we will be losing. We are offering Day Automation and Knudsen no increase in their rent this year due to the rise of COVID. We will likely look toward next year if they take 1-year leases to use the CPI to increase them. They have both been contacted us for that. We've actually heard from Connexus regarding their lease that is up June 14th. They would like to talk to us about extending that lease. So we're, and they have 20,000 square feet in building 11, so that would be a very good customer to be able to renegotiate for a new lease.
That is a 1-year term, typical.
It has been in the last few years, and I think with COVID, nobody's going to go more than a year, maybe 2. Day Automation, I believe, had a 2-year lease. I'm asking them if they will take another 2-year lease or whether one should reseat them. Connexus is talking about a 1-year lease to see how the pandemic pans out. We have had already an initial contact with one of our tenants whose lease is up in September, and they are looking to re-up with a 5-year. So some of the bigger leases with bigger spaces are folding. A lot of the smaller ones do go yearly.
Any questions, Patty? Okay. Nick? Yep. Tony, Nicole, any questions?
No, I'm good, thanks, Patty.
Sure. Nicole? Unfinished business. Warrant? Okay, let's move on to business items. General administration. A1, approval of employment agreement with executive director. We have the resolution before you. The committee has reported. Then?
Is that the next motion or do you have a?
And then make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to move forward on,
Okay, the second? Is there any discussion?
And I'd like to ask an explanation so that I understand the language of the employment agreement. Number 6. The agreement reads, Steve shall receive 25 vacation days per year, and that he shall earn all such vacation time and his employment in this regard. Is that at the end of the year, having worked a year, then you have earned the?
My anniversary date is 12/10/2001. So
So you're under the old plan.
I'm the only one.
You're the only one that.
I know where you're headed.
Well, that answers my question.
Try to reassure you that.
But that's not general policy, and that's not the way we are.
That's right.
Correct.
I appreciate that, and with that,
I don't know, I was looking for the part where you had to open the door and clean up the beach. I was looking for 24 hours. 24 hours?
Without the minutes, yeah, you can just put the regular.
Okay, motion's been made, and I believe seconded. Is that a second from, Coffey?
Megan.
Oh, Megan. Okay.
I can do this.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten? Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk Pickman? Motion carried.
A2. Lease agreement. And SITA Information Network Computing USA Incorporated, Mr. Munn.
I'll let Stephanie handle that. She, works with
Okay.
this company and, she can give you more details on that.
This company works, the contract is on the FAA. They provide radio frequencies, radio communications to the FAA from aircraft and also to the airlines, to their aircraft. They found that this area of the country is lacking in the radio communication, and they need a place to put their equipment. So this equipment will go in about 3.5 square feet footprint, but it's small. It's in the hangar. They will be putting antennas on the roof of the hangar. The lease is for $6,000 a year, paid annually, and to renew annually with a minimum of $6,000 per year, and increase at the rate of the CPI.
So I've noticed that utilities are included with the agreement. What is it?
Electrical.
Is it a significant amount, more than average?
Approximately $60 a month with
Stephanie, you say on the roof, is it gonna be inside of the building, is it going up, or is it, are they gonna have to penetrate?
they do have to penetrate.
All right, so you will be assured that
Yeah,
I can get that.
because it's right on their equipment.
Oh, okay. It goes straight up
It
above
goes
that.
straight up.
I didn't ask that question before, but. So, in your interest.
So, where else is there? For something like this?
I know this company has one at the Watertown Airport. I have not worked with this particular company, but I've made inquiries with the FAA. There's a similar company that I've worked with at previous airports for years. Pretty much they will be there until the building closes down. They don't like to use their equipment as long as it works. So I anticipate this to be a long-term move. And they requested, or they gave me the new verbiage that they just wanted to automatically increase it. Or, I'm sorry, increase every year, but renew every year.
You know, I'm sorry,
Oh, they have to be, location, location, location. They can't put it anywhere else. It has to be at the airport. And that is a common average cost or price that they pay at airports.
And we certainly want to get what they get.
And that's it.
Well, when I read this, what it tells me is it improves the safety factor at our airport.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that's something that's always good. And, I think it's great. Good job. Was there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made,
Second?
seconded. Thank you, Tony. Any further discussion? Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk Pickett?
Yes.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Agenda item A3, acceptance of bid results. What?
This is for Stephanie can go into detail, but it's for a piece of equipment that will help with the testing of the foam on the ARC truck. So, Stephanie, you can go into a little more detail. As I have been really involved in that, but I think we did on April 30th, I think.
Yes, fire trucks are required to be tested for the use of the foam and the mix of water to foam and the distribution of foam on our emergency trucks. However, the approved foam for the FAA is toxic. And they have found that it goes into the groundwater. We have gotten away with, and I hope to next week, with the FAA inspection of saying we're not going to do the foam test until we have something in place, and they've been very gracious because the state is not allowed at this time. This trailer will allow us to hook the trucks to the trailer, distribute the foam, be able to test the truck for speed, but volume and accuracy of the mix without it going out into the ground. This is something that most airports are required to do. The FAA, which is about 3 years away from approving a foam that is not as toxic.
This is one environmentally friendly.
This process.
This process, yes, it keeps it from going into the ground or
Good.
into the water.
Thank you. Resolution before you, there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second? Seconded? Any further discussion? Not Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk Pickett? Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item A4. Ratification of advertising agreement with North Country Now with digital edition. Is this part of the, airport, advertising, is that right, Stephanie?
Yes. This is for 52 weeks. In North Country Now, the digital edition. It will be there for 52 weeks. 2 different locations on the site. One on the homepage and one on the obituary section, where they get the nurse.
I honestly had a question about that when I read the yes.
Yes.
I was just wondering how that decision was made.
Because
The obituary section was supposed to go on the New Country Now. One of the first places they look is the obituary section. Is that like by traffic? You can see
By
that's
traffic,
where most-
yes. And there will be tracking,
Okay.
I was just curious,
There will be
I got
tracking.
police fire. Police fire.
I was gonna say, yeah.
yep.
I think Mary, we told that one of the best places that people look at.
Yeah.
I feel like I just like, I just, yeah. It
You're
is,
right.
Probably.
But no, it is, not just what's checking out, most,
So their traffic data shows that that's high.
yes, that is a high traffic area.
And I was trying
That
to
is
show real.
Yes, it is.
Trying to show real. Okay, I like it. Go ahead.
This thing, I think we want to talk about NHL.
Okay, thank you. Did you work with my company up? Did you talk to people? Yes, they would have been more receptive to, discuss with some of the peer staff and myself regarding other issues. I hope they understand, I actually had, their ask, that would be the second thing I go to. And I, paid for it. I just want them to understand that last couple of weeks, I haven't been happy with some of the things in our country now. Very motion.
I'll make a motion, I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Now, Anne Marie, call the roll on the digital, please.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
yes.
Ms. Quirk Pickman? Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten? Motion carried.
Okay, you have the second one before you, the same thing. The dollar amount, different?
Yes.
The dollar amount is different.
Different, and this is for the print edition for both the Canton, Austin, and the Augsburg Messina issues of North Country Now. It's running now, it is at the bottom of the front page, and that's what it will say.
Is there a governor edition?
Governor which leads me to a question that I had about, I guess, digital traffic versus like actual paper copies. I guess I noticed that the rates are different. I guess I was just wondering, is that because one has a high, like, I just thought it was interesting to print or smart versus the digital when I think most people now are getting digital. So I guess my question is there a higher volume of people looking at these ads on a print basis that would warrant that, or is that just really the cost?
That is the cost, for their digital ad, or, I'm sorry, for their print ad in that location on the front page. And I still believe, and from the information I've gotten, that a lot of people pick up that print page.
Yeah, I guess my question was that justification for the difference in price based on amount of hands touching it, or is it just it's more expensive?
I think it would be just more expensive to print nowadays.
Maybe a combination.
And which one of these you have the option to change out the ad? Most of it,
Or they're not considering one thing about that.
most of it, I know.
Oh,
Just
what
the
in
public.
the-
That always is the new year of getting it.
Right.
It's kind of almost what we do here. It's like, not to get headline, but when I can rather look at a classified or an act. You can go in and
Right.
Maybe moving forward, I have something like that, something that's
Every Thursday.
Patty and I had a conversation too that, when we get close, we should go to the hospital and work our way, you
100%.
know, right. And we do have a contact over there as well. Just, I don't know, we're going too far ahead, but we want to be ready.
Yeah, even a little bit.
Right.
You feel left out in the cold, Darren?
I do feel a bit left out, but I'm also 6 minutes late to another meeting. I'm trying to stay on to the bitter end, though. So just let them know that I will be there in just a moment.
Okay. Again, motion is before you. The resolution is before you. Is your motion made?
Not yet.
Made by Jen, is the second? Any further discussion? Diane, recall the roll, please.
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes.
Ms. Quirk Pickman, Mr. Coffin,
Yes.
Mr. Byrne,
Yes.
Ms. Witten, Ms. Terminelli.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Item 8.6. Approval of new permit with name 2. North District Kickball.
Yeah, one of our employees, Nancy Morrow, has ties to this kickball tournament, and he basically kind of set it up. So I believe it's the last 2 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been very successful, so we wanted to get out in front. And, we feel that at this time it's an outdoor activity that we've opened up. We'd like to issue a use permit for the kickball tournament.
We have done this before.
Twice before.
Twice before, it's the third time.
Did they do it last year? Or 2 years before?
They definitely did 2 years before. I'm not
Yeah.
sure last year with COVID if they did.
No.
This is one of those, not mentioned enough things that the authority does for the community, in addition to the 3-mile walking path that runs on every day. And other things we do. This shows the community that we appreciate them supporting us. And this is one way for us to return.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add, we asked for $150. In my 20 years here, I've never seen that take that money. Everybody, I don't remember an organization that left anything in bad shape or anything at all. So there's been a real respect for our property. So we can, we do more of these, just knowing that everybody's kind of on the same page with that.
There's one more time. Okay, the motion before you? Resolution.
Yeah. We knew what you meant.
The name, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Diane, recall the roll, please.
Ms. Quirk Pickman?
Yes.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Witten? Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Other such matters, we have a resolution, approval of signature authorization for Key Bank.
Did anyone get that? Yes. Okay. We have a problem with Key Bank as they process our credit cards and then deposit it into an account of our choosing. Currently, it goes into an account that also for cash and checks. We cannot reconcile that bank account, hasn't been reconciled for probably 2.5 years. We believe it is fees associated with the credit card. But the only way to properly find out is to keep the cash and checks in the account we have. We have a new account that the credit card proceeds would go into. Then we can isolate where the problem actually is. The problem we found out is that the legal signer on this account is Fred Morrow.
That goes back. For those of you that 2 CFOs ago.
We want, in order to remove Fred's name, Key Bank is asking that the board look at this proposal, review it, approve it, and then it will go in corporate minutes, and then go to KeyBank, and then they will allow us to change the authorized signer to my name. And then once we do that, then we can split the accounts and get the credit card proceeds and its own separate account.
Okay, the board has, taken up and reviewed this matter. And hopefully, based on the resolution, we will remove former CFO. Is there a motion? Motion's been made, is there a second? Second by.
Second.
Second by Henry.
Any further discussion? None, Anne Marie, call the roll, please.
Mr. Coffin?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne? Ms. Whitten? Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk Pickman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, any other, this matter?
Mr. Chairman, you want to set the meeting?
Was that day goes June 10th, Thursday at 4 p.m.?
Will not be.
Anyone else? Not able to make that? Tony?
Yeah, I may be able to reschedule, but right now I have a doctor's appointment at 4. But I can see if I can reschedule that, so, should be no problem.
We don't know about that. Nicole?
She had to leave.
Someone wanna suggest a different day?
The next person?
Anything that has to be done by that particular day?
There'll be a number of, renewals.
Will be leaves, renewal, moving out of the
Well, what happens is then you get into July, things jam off to where, normal school, so we'll get through the, and then trying to do the finance committee meetings and personnel committee. Is that time in the, doesn't come with the holidays?
No, June 3rd, no.
Tony, how's June 3rd?
June 3rd is completely open for me, except I'm on call that day, so it's always up in the air when I'm on call.
Okay. June 3rd, is good? Chris, you good?
Yep.
June? Tom, you got multiple bosses in the background. So June 3rd at 4 p.m. Okay? Okay. One last thing before we go into executive session. I was pleased to see WWNY coverage of the number of Canadians returning from South that come through our airport. They did a good job in showing passengers getting off the plane and continuing on with coverage of those individuals renting hotel rooms and going to restaurants around the community and attending the Remington. I think it highlights the value our airport has to the community and how it helps the businesses in our community. And I think it's not just within the city of Augsburg, but within the surrounding area. And it's good to see that those that envision the airport growing and providing additional air service to other areas has helped local businesses. Is there a need for executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for to discuss 2 items of property negotiations.
Is there a possibility of any action after the second?
I believe on one of them, there may be some movement to the board, or you may need to do a resolution.
Okay. Is Mr. Glazer still there?
Yes.
Tom, hopefully you heard that after executive session, however long that may last, there may be a business item brought before the board. Do you have a question so far you'd like to ask?
No, I don't.
Okay, if, we don't know when we're gonna come out of executive session, if we do conduct business, is it okay to have Mr. Lawrence contact you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay,
Email or cell phone, Tom?
Or no, call me please, because I'll miss an email. Yeah, if you could call me.
okay,
Okay.
Great, thank you so much.
thank you. Is there a motion, to go into executive session? Motion's been made. Seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It is 5:50. Go into executive session.
Stephanie, can you use and read? I'll need you to post the slide.
I should have stopped.
Mm-hmm. Any opposed? Okay, it is 7:15 p.m. You're on the executive session. Mr. Lawrence, is there any business to be conducted at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a resolution for sale of surplus property. And approval of a purchase offer.
Would someone read that since there's no public here, but anyone watching this would need to understand what we have in front of them.
The recording is the authority received a purchase offer on the items completion for the authority surplus property located in Route 37, New York State 37, and Route New York State 812, Trooper Sean Snow Drive. The purchase offer made by WNC LLC on property located in New York State 37, New York State 812, Trooper Sean Snow Drive. Approximately 11.59 acres is in the amount of $115,000. The authority has deemed the location as surplus property, and sale of the property is in the best interest of the authority. The authority has issued a counteroffer in the amount of $125,000. Staff recommends acceptance and approval of the counteroffer. Shall I read the resolution?
Yes.
Resolved that the board of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority does hereby authorize and accept the purchase offer by WNC LLC on property located at Route New York State 37 and Route New York State 812 to Sean Snow Drive, approximately 11.59 acres in the amount of $125,000. And be it further resolved that upon acceptance of this counteroffer, Executive Director Stephen J. Lawrence is hereby authorized to sign all documents related to effectuating this transfer.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Motion's been made. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Mr. Lawrence, you're accepting this and proceeding with the sale of this. Would this place this property on the tax roll?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I believe the use that they intend was to go to a private owner and before a business use that they intend to put on the property.
Thank you. And for years now, the authority has tried to sell that this intended purpose put it on the tax roll. And, it's great that, we have someone who finally realizes the value of that piece of property. And, I asked the board to approve this, because it shows, our commitment to, do what is right for the authority and the community. Any other comments? If not, Anne Marie, call the roll.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten? Ms. Dixon? Mr. Cawthorn? Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. George, is there any other, additional business?
No, Mr. Chairman, tonight.
Hey, if not, is there a motion, I'm sorry, any concluding comments from any board members or staff? None? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion's been made, is there a second? Seconded by, Megan. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.